the ARK group process, and situation circles. The ARK group process. ARK groups provide an incredible opportunity for teachers, parents, and teens to use a small group process to build caring relationships and to solve problems together. During each meeting, ARK group members view a lesson on video and then break into small share circles to discuss the lesson or any other topic of interest to them. In their share circle, group members have an opportunity to problem solve, peer mentor, and team build with their colleagues. One tool for doing so is a unique dynamic process called a situation circle. We are going to watch a short video depicting a situation circle. But first, a brief explanation of how a situation circle works. A group member who requests a situation circle becomes the focus person. He or she shares with the group a situation or a concern and then asks for input and advice. Each member of the group is offered the opportunity to give their single best suggestion in response to that situation. The focus person simply listens and answers with a non-judgmental "thank you" in response to each suggestion. The group wisdom that flows out of situation circles is often of profound help to the focus person. Here is an example of a situation circle in an ARK group for teachers.
Great discussion, group. This might be a good time to ask, does anybody have a need for a situation circle?
I do.
All right, Kate.
Well, the other day I was in the hallway and I noticed two boys having an altercation. I went over to break up the fight and I touched one of them on the shoulder, just gently touched one, accidentally actually. And the boy turned around, flipped me off and said, "Don't touch me, bitch." And I was stunned. I mean, I never have heard that in a school setting, and the touch was merely incidental, so I didn't know what to do. Fortunately, Mr. Agnew, our assistant principal, witnessed the whole thing. He came over and said, "You can't talk to her like that, John," and he took the child aside and brought him to his office. I would like to know your thoughts on how you would handle the situation had Mr. Agnew not been there.
Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody have a clarifying question before we get started helping her with her situation?
I do. Do you know this student?
No, I didn't know the student's name until Mr. Agnew had called him John.
Okay, anybody else have a clarifying question?
What grade is the student in?
I'm not quite sure what grade he's in. I believe he's in 9th grade, though.
Okay, anybody else have a clarifying question? Okay, Kate, would you like someone to take notes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do I have a volunteer?
No.
Okay, thank you. Greg, would you pass that around? Thank you, Martha. All right, let's get started with our suggestions. And remember, we're only going to give one best single suggestion. And who would like to start?
I'll start.
Okay, thank you.
What I'd probably do is take them out to the back parking lot and rubber hose. I was just kidding. But let me ask you another clarifying question. Have you talked to the child since the incident?
No, I have not.
Kate, I think it's important you talk to John about what happened and tell him that type of behavior is unacceptable. And then in the future, that same behavior he'll be disciplined for it. Then I just tell him I care about him, and then that you're going to be there anytime he needs your help in the future.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
While you're with the student, I tell them, "I apologize for touching you." I think it's a good thing to model for kids. That is good to admit that you made mistakes and then to apologize for them. And my second best suggestion is that...
Javier, just remember right now we're just going to give our single best suggestion, and we'll come back and let you give your second suggestion in just a few minutes after everybody's had a chance to participate.
Okay, well then that's my single best suggestion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Kate, sounds like you are in your pretty emotional situation. My suggestion would be, this kind of reminds me of like a flash fire in the kitchen, and the last thing you would do is throw water on it and cause it to explode because it's so emotional. So the first thing I would do is I would take a step back away from the student, because your number one priority in the hallways is safety. It's safety for you, and it's safety for the kids, and it's safety for John. And so you want to step away so that there is no more contact between y'all two, because obviously that made him feel uncomfortable. And then moving on from there, what I would do is I would just start a conversation, and I would stay as calm as possible. Just start asking questions. And what that does is it diffuses the situation. It gets his attention away from whatever the conflict was and onto you. And that's good because you're a safe person and you're calm, and you're going to keep that whole situation calm so that there isn't an escalation of that emotion. And once you start asking him questions and he starts answering those questions, it could be about anything. What's your name? How are you doing today? Just get his mind off the situation. I think that will completely diffuse the situation. And once it's calm, it's safe for everybody, then you can start making, you can look for an administrator or take the next step. But the main priority there is safety for you and for everybody in the hallway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I'm glad that you mentioned his name, John, because I had him in class last year. And John is one of those students that is kind of difficult unless you know him really well. And so I think if I were in that situation and I didn't know him, I would try to let him know, first of all, that I'm on his side. So he's coming at you in an aggressive way. And so instead of you playing the antagonist like he is setting you up to play, I would try to say, hey, I totally didn't mean to touch you there. Are you doing okay? What happened here? Try to let him know that you're his advocate and you're on his side.
Thank you.
I'll pass on that.
Thank you.
All right, so to piggyback off of some of the other suggestions, I agree that in the moment you should apologize for touching John, and then make it clear that his behavior is inappropriate. You can't call you names like that. But then there's the follow-up later on. So in the moment, just kind of keep it short and brief, addressing things quickly. But later on, either you personally follow up with him, asking what's going on and why that was so bothersome, or since you don't really know the student very well, talk to one of the other teachers who knows him better, perhaps a coach or counselor, and have them really follow up with John and find out what's going on more at home.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.